Dear brothers, it's about quality, not quantity.
So guys, it should be your conversation, the way you flow, your presence is enough for a woman to want to be around you, not how much money you spend.
Dear sisters, it's about knowing your value.
My sisters out there, don't be afraid to scare a guy off just because you have standards.
Dear brothers, dear sisters, it's time to come together.
All right. Welcome back to the most mature podcast pertaining to relationship topics. I'm your host, relationship advisor, author Tramel Lawrence, and I'm here with my partner, my ace Carl, better known as the accountability coach. And listen, my man, we're live and ready to share our viewpoints on how we can unify our brothers and sisters. But what's new? How you been up to, my brother? What's going on?
Oh man, not much, man. I tell you, just another week, long week, man. Just I just want to pass some condolences out to the Pippins family. A good friend of mine, like uncle to my sons, man. He passed this week, but my condolences out to them. But outside of that, man, God's been good, been all over the country, and I'm ready to head home.
Yeah, man. I mean, first off, my condolences and prayers goes out to the family. I know that's hard hitting, so appreciate you just still coming aboard and everything like that. So, other than that, man, I would say what's new on my side, man. I just been experiencing this great weather, this season. I feel like we're getting a taste of summer.
Mm-hmm.
And to those that are thinking about going to the beach or grilling out or whatever it can be, or you get yourself a DBDS t-shirt, as you can see, Colin, right here. And you see that I have the DBD. Just so one, that's a great way to support the cause, to support the movement, because all we're about is helping our brothers to unify healthy monogamous relationships, which leads to healthy marriages. And you can get both these items, of course, on our website, which is currently dearbrothersdearsisters.com. That is the official site of healthy monogamous relationships. So besides items, you can definitely schedule you a one-on-one consulting session. And not just that, but we have so many resources up there, plenty, whether it's books, whether it's, our sister, Dr. Peggy, who currently has her book on the site, which her book is titled Kingdom of Pearls. Make sure you check it out. Great book, by the way. But so many things in the pipeline. So let's pivot to today's topic, brother. And today's topic is titled How to Identify the Real Representative, which we'll explore to help our brothers and sisters out there, because so many, Carl, I mean, they're not healed. They're looking in the wrong places. They're coming across a lot of people who are not authentic and they have some hidden agenda. So do you find that to be the case these days? Do people talk to you about that?
Yeah, I mean, just having the regular daily discussions. I talk to a lot of people, and they come back and they say, "Oh, I was talking to this guy, and it was going good, and then all of a sudden, it's like, who is this man I'm talking to? It's not the same person that I saw, or what he was doing on social media, or when he first introduced. Or you hear men say, I went out with her, and she's just completely not who it is, who she said she was. So yeah, it's definitely something that happens a lot of times. It can get frustrating, I think, for some people. As I have people say, I'm just tired of dating. I don't want to date anymore because of that. So it's just like, how do I know this person is really who they are? And I think it's keeping people kind of sitting on the bench or on the sidelines instead of getting in the game.
Yeah, very well said, man. I can absolutely see where you're coming from. And it makes it a lot harder for a lot of people to raise down that wall, because they don't want to get hurt. They want to guard themselves as much as possible, but they don't tend to realize that wall up so high can be blocking your blessings unless you put it down just a little. And that's the only way you'll be able to determine who's good and bad out there. Because listen, Carl and I, we both know that if you're good, you're going to attract broken and good people. Right. You just have to stop entertaining the broken people. That's That's what it boils into these days, right? So listen, my man, you ready to bring our guest into the studio?
Let's do it.
Man, that's what I'm talking about. Classes in session. So coming in the DBD live show. It's a sister whose positive energy is so contagious, and that's why I'm honored to have her on the show today. I want to welcome my sister, Jasmine Nee, to DBDS Live. Right.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good
All right.
evening.
Hello, my sister.
What's
So
going?
listen, here. Appreciate you coming aboard. Tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and why you're on the show today.
Well, I am Jasmine E. Sanders, as you stated already. I am from a small town in Arkansas. I'm currently in the Little Rock, Arkansas area. Born and raised in church and ministry and all of that, but my life hadn't always aligned with that. Thus, my relationships, ended up going in a different direction as well. But just through my experience over the years, I'm grateful to be in a place to share positivity and anything that I can to help someone else not make the mistakes that I've made. I absolutely love the initiative of this show. And I agree that, if we can show up whole and healed and looking for the right thing because we know who we are, then it's going to make for just better relationships, especially in the Black community in general. So I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
All right. Thank you, my sister, for sharing. And it's an honor to have you on the show. So we greatly appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
All right. So the next sister that's coming into the DBDS Live studio is someone that's down to earth, speaks her mind. She's been on the show before, but man, I consider her family. So I just want to welcome back my great sister Grace to DBDS Live.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here. I've learned from you guys how to do my own podcast because I was sucking bad.
Don't say that. No.
I was struggling.
So I mean, yeah, this is the time, man. Tell the people more about your podcast, what it stands for, a little bit about yourself, and why you're on the show today.
So I'm here today because you guys asked me to be here, and I also love the topics. I love what you'll talk about. I love the authenticity, the realness, things that people can actually apply to their lives. That's why I like this platform. My podcast is a relationship podcast as well. It's called Life Happens. It's where I combine my spirituality because I am a minister of the gospel, as well as practical everyday things to create balance. Because what I've learned is that if you are super, super spiritual, you're normally lacking emotional unavailability. That's where you because, hey, I know this firsthand because I was that, okay? Until I realized that I was unbalanced. And so I just teach people to find a balance. You can have everything you want, still love Jesus, cuss a little sometimes, and be yourself and enjoy life. And that's what we talk about in my show. And I enjoy it. So thank you guys for having me.
Oh, it's an honor. It's an honor to have you on the show, my sister, because everything that you stated, yeah, thank you. But everything that you stated, it rings so true because one thing that I picked up on what you stated was the accountability, and you did the work and you talked about balance, and a lot of people don't take accountability to change themselves for the better. So I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you coming back on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Pleasure is ours. So let's go ahead and go. So the first topic that I want to touch on related to how to identify the real representative will be, what are green flags to show that they are genuine? I mean, it's a very important question, right? And before you even think about looking for a potential partner, I tell my brothers and sisters out there to figure if someone is genuine. The most important decision that you'll make in your life is finding someone that can possibly be with you for the rest of your life, because everything has a correlation. You have to be honest with yourself. Are you the type of person who has good communication skills? Are you respectful? Do you have a steady emotional temperature? Trustworthy? Are you motivated by material things? And the reason why this is so important is because if you want a genuine partner, then you have to be genuine yourself.
That's
And it
right.
will be less challenging to come across someone who mirrors the core values, the core beliefs, someone who understands your non-negotiable codes and will respect your personal boundaries. So, Jasmine Mani, what other green flags a person should pay attention to while looking for a life partner?
I'm so glad that you brought out being real with yourself and understanding yourself first before trying to look at someone else and judge whether or not they're real and what's going on in their lives. Because I feel like
Mm,
once you are solid on who you are and what you desire, that what you're looking for it'll be easier for you to spot that out. But I'd say that one of the biggest green flags is consistency for me.
mhm,
I know we were having a conversation earlier about, you know, the man pursuing the woman or vice versa, whatever the case is. But if that person can consistently make time and make room for you in their lives, then that shows me that you're serious about this connection. You're serious about this relationship and where this relationship is going. So that's one of the big things.
hmm. Yeah, very well said. I mean, that's the most important aspect is to want to have that connection that will show that you're a committed person. And I think that's why I tell people character comes first before anything, before money, before popularity. You got to see what that person is truly about. Grace, wouldn't you agree?
I absolutely agree with consistency. I
Mm,
believe that how you start, you need to be able to maintain that energy, right? Throughout the whole
Mhm.
the most
Mhm.
important, getting to know
mm,
somebody, right? Communication and honesty is key. Like, let me know and give me the opportunity to either accept certain things about you or not, because I should have that right to do so, right? And then this is a big one for me: when words and actions need to match. Okay, if they don't match, the guy, should be okay with me asking questions. If you have a problem with me asking questions, to me, that's a no no. You should be okay with me asking. Because if the words and actions are not matching, that means you're not going to be consistent. And to me, that means you're not a truthful person. And you're not going to waste my time. So that's how I feel about that. That's as important to me.
okay. So true. Very well said, my sister. And to those, and that's correct because the words and actions they have to be congruent. And what I further want to emphasize is that listen, my peoples, we all been down this road, but if you've been hurt or had a bad relationship, I just want to emphasize until you heal and do the work, I think your vision is going to be blurry, right? And if you're surrounded by people who are very negative when it comes to monogamous relationships because they see what Flavor Flav is doing with 16 women, he's trying to pass out the clock, or Ray J, all these famous celebrities that are promoting these different philosophies, then that can easily influence you if you don't have a strong mind. And that little seed in your brain can grow into a self sabotaging mechanism, which you will push good quality men and women away. So sometimes you need to change your surroundings. Sometimes you need to unlearn what you learn. I think that's also a key factor in order to identify green flags from a potential partner. Carl, what are your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I definitely. I got a couple of things. You hit something with the healing part. Um, Understand. People always say, "Well, how do I know I'm healed enough to date?" And my thought, and this is again, it's not just my thought process. I was reading it in Psychology Today, and it was an interesting article on it. And when you get to a point where the pain doesn't hinder you, the pain of the past relationship is not hindering you. Um, you may still you're because healing never stops. It's a consistent thing. You're always healing from it. But you should not feel pain from that past relationship because that will definitely interfere in a new relationship if you're still struggling with that pain from that past relationship. So just you brought that healing part up, and that was something you got to deal with, with somebody when you're talking to. But to me, a couple of green flags, and I love what the lady said, especially talk about communication. But part of communication is listening well. Do they listen well? Do they hear what I say when I'm speaking to them? How awesome it is to describe yourself, and then your birthday comes up, and I've had it done for me, and they do everything for you for your birthday that you've talked about, but you just describe what you like. That meant that person was paying attention to you, was in tune with you, and really understood what you're saying. So that's part of that communication part. I think it's not just talking and being able to verbalize it. Can this person comprehend what I'm saying? And then sometimes we got to worry about, are we communicating in a way for them to comprehend also with that communication part? One of the other things are they engaged in a relationship? Are they really, do they communicate back? Do they text back? Are they looking at plans? Are they interested in helping to nurture the relationship further? You guys have same like-minded goals with that. The relationship moves at a good pace, a comfortable pace. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, okay, I always see this meme and I think I want to throw it in the trash can. Men will know. Men will know if you're a wife in 6 months, if you're going to be his wife. And I always tell people it's 6 months or less. And I always tell people, yeah, a lot of men will know if you're a wife material. It doesn't mean you're his wife. There's a difference. We may know early on, and that's why we'll continue to cultivate the relationship. We'll know, okay, yeah, she's the type of woman you could marry, but is she my wife?
That's good.
That's the difference.
Wow.
And it may take a year. It may take 2 years before this person's at a place to say, okay, now I'm ready to ask her, because he needs to see the steps. Is God telling me this is my wife? She can have all the wife qualities in the world, but is she mine? Because you don't want to marry the wrong woman because you feel like, oh, I love her, all this stuff. So that's, so I say a comfortable pace, but the relationship is progressing forward. If it's stagnant, then that's, it's definitely a red flag with that. But vulnerability is another key one. If that person is a green flag, if they're willing to be vulnerable and talk to you with different things. I got a whole list, but I'm not gonna go around that. What was that? Accountability. I'm gonna leave it with this one from Mr. Accountability. Do they take accountability?
That's huge.
For themselves, and do they talk about the accountability from their past relationships, or do they blame it on the other person? Now, again, the other person may have done wrong, but do they take accountability for either maybe staying in a relationship too long? Do they take accountability for saying, hey, I missed these signs? Where's their accountability? A lot of people always say, oh, you don't have to be accountable for a relationship. No, there's something you did not do, or you did that you shouldn't have been doing in a relationship. So even if it's 1%, is this person taking accountability? And that's a major green flag if they're like, yeah, you know what? I could have done this better. I always tell people, I'm one of them people. I say, I went through what I did in my divorce, but the first thing I did was I took a look in the mirror at myself.
Right.
And said, okay, I didn't deserve this, but for me, what could I have done better to be a better husband? What can I do now to be a better man and to be better for the next person? And that's where you go forward. But if all I said was, well, she did this to me, she did that to me, she did this to me, she did that to me, I would hope a woman would get up and run away.
Right.
Yeah.
And fast.
Now, you're saying so many good things because it ties in with self-awareness. People are not self-aware. And if they are self-aware, they don't do anything with that self-awareness. Like you can say, I'm an angry person, but when you get angry, or sir, what are you doing with that anger? Are you controlling yourself or not, right? And then the difference thing, because I believe in this, like in the beginning, you talk trash, yes. But as time goes on and as you heal, you start asking yourself, okay, what did I contribute? Because if you don't figure that out, you're going to do it in your next relationship.
Absolutely.
And when I hear men, even women talking about it, I just get so irritated because I'm like, sis, shut up. You did something too. It's off-putting.
Yeah. No, I hear what you're both saying. I mean, I think the thing is that what's people lacking these days is the emotional intelligence, which means I feel like you're just solely relying on your feelings instead of logically trying to figure out if someone is going to be the type of person you can spend the rest of your life with. Like, will this person have, how would this person affect my business? How would this person affect my health? How would this person affect everything about me emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially? I think those are seeing things from a logical lens compared to just the emotional aspect. And you need to have both in order to make a clear decision as to whether it's green flags or red flags. I mean, Jasmine, wouldn't you agree with that as well?
Absolutely. I I'm in agreement with everything that's being said. It's been so many great nuggets that have been put out. But I want to elaborate a little more on the accountability factor, because the accountability and that self-awareness, that was one of the greatest breakthroughs for me personally. I was like, why am I in this cycle of going from one bad relationship to the next, to the next, to the next, when I was the common denominator there, you know? So I had to figure out what it was in me that was causing me to choose this type of guy or stay in these types of relationships. So I had to really do a whole lot of introspection there and be healed myself. And so I just feel like developing your own self-awareness, that emotional intelligence, like you're saying, is going to absolutely be key before looking for anything. Okay. Because like Grace said, you're going to continue to go in that same cycle. It's going to be a cycle. If you don't get you together, yeah, it's going to be a vicious cycle. So I absolutely agree with everything that you guys are saying, you know, that emotional intelligence and not jumping into the physical and the outward things. And like you're saying, looking at things from the perspective of where is my life going to be in the long run due to this connection, to this relationship. You just a lot of time and trouble and stress and all of that. If you just keep it real, just keep it all the way real. Forget the fact that you're desperate, or I don't want to say desperate. You know, sometimes we get so caught up in being ready for a relationship. I'm just ready. I know it's time. You know, everybody's on this kick. I've been seeing on social media, everybody's been talking about, I'm getting married this year. And that, you know, that could be God's will for your life, but you can't jump on the first train that's running. You know, you gotta it realistically, and do some praying about it first of all, and with me being who I am. But either case, I'm always going to bring a prayer. But allow God to give you some discernment and direction in your choosing. But also use your mind. Like my brother told me one time some years ago, he said, Jazz, think with your mind. I don't know what was going on that day, but we really need to think with our minds and, you know, get our heads out of our hearts and whatever other parts they might be in, so that we can see things for what they really are. Because I think a lot of times we'll make a person out to be what we want them to be. We'll look over all of the red flags, but just because we're ready, quote unquote, ready, you know. So I absolutely
facts.
It.
Go ahead, Carl.
Hey, just one last thing. A good green flag on a relationship that, you know, you both have separate lives. You have your own lives. Yes. And in a healthy relationships, you're not, if you feel like you got to be attached to the hip all the time, that leads to codependency, and that is not healthy in a relationship at all. But you both need to have your own things that you like to do. And it's not being disrespectful to the rest of it. You just have things that, hey, you know, I like to golf, so I'm going to go golf, you know, by myself. I don't have to, you know, my significant other doesn't have to go golf with me. If she wants to go occasionally, that's fine, but that's my downtime. She may want to go a spa day. That's her downtime. You see what I'm saying? So have your own things, because if you don't, what happens is not only become codependent, you stop your own self-discovery. We should always be evolving and self-discovering ourselves. But if you're so codependent on somebody else, eventually the relationship becomes stagnant also, because you're depending on this person to do everything or be everything for you. And that's unhealthy. So make sure you have your own life and they have their own life when you're going forward in a relationship, and you feel like, you know, again, if you both like the movies, you go to the movies together. If you both like to dance, you go out and go dance together. That's nothing wrong with that, you know. But if you can't move without that person on your hip, and they feel like they got to go with you on everything, or vice versa, it's not a healthy way of the relationship, because that codependency will get there, and when you're codependent, you will start to miss red flags.
Wow.
That's an automatic. You'll start missing red flags because you're so dependent on it. It doesn't matter what they're doing. It doesn't look like a red flag because you're like, well, I need this person. I can't let you don't. You may not know. Hey, it's unsafe. I need to walk away from this relationship. But now you're so dependent on it, you can't do that. So and again, that becomes because your self discovery and growth has been stumped because you're that dependent on them.
Can I just add something? I just want to add to what Jasmine said when you said your brother said use your head.
Mm-hmm.
I love that he said that, because I'm going to tell you why, especially with us people, is that we'll say, oh, we're waiting on God, right, to do something. And that is great. But God has given us a mind, emotion, wills. He's given us the ability to make decisions. And I believe that if I do something wrong, God will redirect my steps because I trust him. But he's also given me the ability to make decisions. And I have said things like, I'm waiting on God, but yet it was fear that stopped me. What I said, write the book, sis. I'm not coming to write the book. I just had to do it. So it's action. So your brother said the most amazing thing, because that's just action. You have a part in your destiny as well. But, you know, as in ministry, I'm waiting on the Lord. Y'all, it took me 5 years to write my first book because I was waiting on the Lord when he told me 5 years ago. You know? So what you said was so key. I agree with your brother.
Man, okay. That's the key, because I hear a lot of, some brothers, but I hear a lot of sisters stating that, hey, I'm waiting on God to send me the perfect man, but they're not putting any action. And I always state that without faith, it's dead. Faith is dead if you don't put no action to it, I meant to say. So, and another thing too, you want to also consider a lot of people, when they come from a hectic relationship and they self-sabotage things, it could be that they're insecure. And you could just tell how they carry themselves, if they need to seek validation from numerous men, numerous women on social media, whatever the case may be, that can also put up a blindfold and not attracting the kind of relationship that they desire. So it's a lot of key factors when it comes to that. But listen, we have some comments coming in already. Let's get the audience engaged. So, wow. First comment.
Well, Naomi grabbing her wine.
Oh. What you drinking, Naomi? All right, next one.
I wish God will bring the right man into my life, because honestly, you can't.
Oh, time out. I just said that. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
You can't be genuine. No, you're good these days. Let's keep it real, DBDS. Y'all get treated like a doormat because most men are dogs, and there's only a few percentage of good men out there, because half of them are married, in jail, or not interested in women, especially black women. This is why it's so hard to submit, because most men are only after one thing. Honestly, I don't put up with the BS anymore. If they want a real B, then they have to prove themselves to me. So,
sister,
let me say
we
this.
appreciate your comment, but go ahead, Carl. I'll let you respond.
I gotta take my glasses off. So I'm gonna go backwards. First thing, referring to yourself as a real B is disrespectful to yourself, and you're only going to attract men that look at women as Bs. If you understand what the word B means and look it up in the dictionary, Google it, I'm sure you know what it is. You don't want to be a B, and no real man wants a B. I'm just going to keep it 100 with you on that. So number one, you're already disrespecting yourself. So if you're disrespecting yourself, you're not giving a man anything to respect. And to have to prove themselves, I get all that, but but again, you have to become what you're trying to attract. And then calling all men dogs, and after one thing, again, if what you're putting out from your energy out into the atmosphere, you're dealing with what your circumstances are. There are plenty of good men out there. the problem is, and I continue to tell women, is women outnumber men. It's almost 3-1 globally. Women outnumber men. So most of y'all are coming in, you're interacting with the same men. And again, yeah, most men are married. Yeah, some men are in jail. And yeah, some men may not be interested in women, in black women, or may not be interested in women. It's like there are many black women who are not interested in black men, and they're not interested in men at all. So the numbers don't lie. But having this mindset, and I'm saying this out of love to you, sister, having this mindset is only going to cause you to attract everything you said you don't want, because you have this. No man's going to, I'm telling you, an emotionally mature man is not going to prove himself to you, and he's not going to step to you if you're calling yourself a B. I'm just keeping that 100%. And then when you're saying most men are dogs, it's disrespectful to men. And I'm guarantee you don't have to say it. Your body language, your eyes, your vibe is giving it off. And this is why the men that you would love to approach you will never approach you.
That's facts. That's facts. No, I'll say mine. I want to hear from the sisters as well. I want to get your thoughts on this. And by the way, we're not judging you, my sister. We appreciate all the comments that's coming in, and we're just showing love. This is the way we care about our people. We're going to keep it real with you. Jasmine, anything you want to say to the sister?
I want to elaborate on what Carl was saying. You pretty much attract what your own mindset is. I've noticed that the more that I elevated my thoughts, elevated my perception of myself, I started to attract a different type of man. And so I will go back into that introspection, not saying that anything is wrong with you, but or anything like that. We all have areas that we need to grow in, but check yourself to see where you might need to elevate to be able to attract what it is you truly desire.
Okay, I'll say this. What I'm not going to do is call myself anything derogatory. The world out here is calling us names anyway, right? Men and women. I've had my share of bad men, but when I looked inside myself, I said, okay, why do I keep attracting these bad men? What is it about me that I'm attracting? Why do I attract narcissists? What I did was I said, okay, pause, go to therapy, figure yourself out first. Now, do I still come across trash? Absolutely. But I recognize it quicker. So I don't go down that road because I see it. I can smell it. I can sense it. I self-regulate. And what I'm not going to do is call myself a bitch ever. Right. I'm not degrading myself. But the reason why people talk like that is because it sounds like she's been through a lot of stuff. And she has a right to be upset and a right to be mad. And I get it because I was there too. Do you know that song Doja Cat, Niggas Ain't That was my anthem song, y'all. I would play that song so loud because I thought men was shit. Until I had to pause and say, Rabia, be for real. What are you doing? Because anything that we say we want unconditional love, but yet we haven't given ourselves unconditional love. We want loyalty. We're not loyal to ourselves. We want all these things from another human being, yet we do not have the ability to give it to ourselves first. It starts here. Self-acceptance, self-love leads to self-forgiveness. If you can't give it, there's no human being on this planet that will able to meet those needs. You're not meeting your own needs. Why am I going to put that pressure on an individual that I can't even self-regulate?
Right.
That's not fair to another. No, you can't do that.
Ooh. All right. Very well said. I appreciate everyone chiming in on that one comment. And I appreciate your comment, sister. Once again, it's all love. Let's continue with the next comment here.
Great topic, DBDS. My dad always taught me to never fall in love with a guy's potential. If he won't or can't meet your requirements, move on.
Okay.
I think some people are so used to being mistreated that they begin to think it's impossible to be treated well. Being adored, cherished becomes mythical in their eyes, and this is why they're unable to see the greens in a representative.
That's a valid point. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Met a genuine sister, but I have trust issues. Why bother? There's no point in caring about people. Besides, I was hurt too many times by women, but mostly old friends. Yes, I know I have a problem.
But see, in order to really find, if you want to find love for real, you got to understand that you will get hurt. Love and pain can coexist. Okay. You have to look at people and say, you know what? You are not my God. You are going to disappoint me. You are going to do things that I don't like. See, people don't break your heart. They break your expectations, which lead to your heart. No person can break your heart. That doesn't happen. You had an expectation that was not met. So if you want to experience genuine connection and love, you got to just step out there. And you're going to kiss frogs. Okay, you are. But until you meet your person, otherwise you're going to be single forever and meet nobody. Because you can't protect yourself. It's just like with your children, right? You don't want them to be hurt, but they have to experience life. They're going to have to do that. And learn how to handle certain situations and people. You are not going to be alive forever. You're not going to be there to tell them what to do. It's the same thing. You know, love and pain coexist. And you got to just understand that and walk it out. And if you got trust issues, go to therapy. Hell, I don't trust people either. But you know what? If I want to have a relationship, I'm going to have to let those walls down at some point.
Yeah. And very well said. And here's the thing, Grace, what you just stated. Like, pain can become your best friend. You know, when you come across those hurtful relationships, that pain will allow you to go through the fire. So that way you can self-reflect as to what occurred in that relationship. And you don't take that, like Carl and I state, you don't take that L as a loss because the relationship did not progress the way you wanted it to. You take that L as a lesson. So if you use pain as a friend, it will be the roadmap to the relationship you desire. And then if you do go into that relationship, everything ain't peaches and creams. Marriage is hard work. Believe me. So we're going to go ahead and continue with these comments here. Next comment is
green flag, strong communicator, honors boundaries, and has other healthy relationships, friendships, parents, siblings, etc.
Absolutely. I'll take a couple of more. We'll hit a commercial break. Go ahead.
And Eric, finding people want marriage and want to hold on to negative patterns, not considering the other person at all. At this point, I wouldn't recommend marriage unless people have participated in classes related to gender roles and what it means to live with someone.
Okay, Eric. Okay.
Marriage should be love, laughter, and compromise. I know too many men who are working themselves to death as their wives stand and watch, and vice versa. How do you shape your lips saying you love somebody and only worry about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it's all about love is all about giving. You have to be able to give. You gotta, the kind of person that will be in your life, you don't have to question their loyalty. You don't have to question whether they want to be around you, because they'll do, like Grace stated, we all have our own mind, our own thought patterns. So if I'm really committed to a person, I'm just going to want to pour myself into that person, just my own free will. That person doesn't have to force me in order to like them, or force me in order to be around them, or force me to respect them. So you got to pay attention to those elements as well. One last comment, and then we're going to go to a commercial break.
It isn't just what you attract, it's what you entertain. We all attract all manners of people. It's who you allow to move to the next step in your life by the attraction you give. Absolutely, Latoya. Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
man, appreciate everybody. Let's drop a bomb for the DBDS family. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We are talking about how to identify a real representative. This is DBDS Live. We'll be right back. And welcome back, my peoples. Welcome back to DBDS Live. I'm here with my DBDS sister, Grace, my DBDS sister, Jazz Mani, my brother, Carl the Coach, and we are talking about how to identify a real representative. This show has been fire. We could talk about this hours and hours, but we're going to go ahead and pivot to our second topic. And the second topic that we're going to touch on is what are some things you can do to help from falling for a representative? Mine oh my, what can we do? So my thing is that the best advice I can share is cliche, but truly, I think you have to take your time to get to know that person. And listen, my people, I understand that we live in an instant gratification society. And to be honest, if you look around, you notice that our society promotes sexual immortality, and the media, they normalize it, whether it's commercials, whether it's movies, whether it's articles, whether it's famous people promoting promiscuous behavior on a daily basis. And that's, I believe, is part of the reason why so many people tend to fall for a representative, because they want the validation so quick, and they're quick to give their heart away to someone that may be the wrong person. But the reality is you have to be emotionally intelligent, as I stated earlier, because when your emotions are up, your intelligence goes down, right? And this is why you cannot allow your emotions to override your logic. So, Grace, I mean, what are other ways that a person can keep from falling for a representative?
I'll say this. There are many ways, but one of the things I notice about people is that when you first meet somebody, you expect that person to text you morning, noon, and night, right? And if the
Right.
person doesn't text you morning, noon, and night, then we want to accuse him of being inconsistent. Why would you expect somebody to devote that much time to you in the beginning, okay, but they don't have other lives? And you think because he texts you 24/7, he's into you. Baby, that is a trap. That don't mean shit, okay? That doesn't mean it. So that's one of the things to do. If the person doesn't have a lot, I would rather have a man that I know was hustling and getting his, working hard. You don't have to text me all the time or be on the phone. Like, why are you on the phone 24/7 with me anyway? Like, what do you do for work?
Ooh.
No. So to me, that's not a green flag. I don't like that. Also, people nowadays love to rush into marriage, rush into having sex,
Right.
rush to take it to another level. Why are you in a hurry, my guy? Why? Why are you not pacing yourself? You don't even know me. What do you like about me? You haven't seen me when I'm anxious. You haven't seen me when I'm mad. And then they want to love bomb you. Like you're the only woman on this earth. And what do we do? Because the inner child in us is unhealed. You're like, oh my God, he must love me. Well, he don't even know you. So when they come in like from the gate, they dismiss it immediately. You need to come in pacing yourself. What are you doing outside of me? Like that shouldn't be your priority. Because I'm not going to respond to your texts
Right.
like you want me to, and you can be mad at me. You're going to call me inconsistent because I do have a life.
Mhm.
When people come in like that, oh, cut your ass off almost immediately. Don't do that. Because I have learned the most valuable lesson, y'all. I met a guy one time. He was so fine. I mean, he was everything that I thought I wanted, right? And I said to him, are you not rushing? He said to me, but we are the age that we are. So what are we waiting for? Y'all, that man was married.
Oh, man.
I made a laugh.
But I'm telling you, that was the best lesson. I swear, like when I look back on my life, that man did not know that he taught me so much. Sometimes you think, oh, the devil, sent them. No, he taught me that I too can eat from the wrong tree.
Mm.
Where I thought I knew everything. That was the best lesson of
Wow.
my life, y'all. Like I would, people say I wouldn't want that to happen again. No, I'm so glad it happened. I'm so, because it really shook me and it woke me up and taught me to pace myself. That's why I don't rush. They're like, oh, you old. But baby, I have kids and I've been married. I'm good. I can, I can wait.
There you go.
So yeah, that's important to me.
Whew, okay. that was a mic drop. No, absolutely, I totally agree with you, Grace. I mean, only fools rush in, right? And Why would you want to put the dessert before a long-lasting, tasteful meal? Because the thing is, when you always put that dessert, you're going to end up with a malnutritious diet. You're not going to get all those ingredients and everything if you don't take your time. And
Mhm.
that's how I feel in this today's society. It's just so rushed. The microwave, you get popcorn in a minute,
Right.
Oodles and noodles. Oodles and noodles is nothing compared to a nice meal at the Cheesecake Factory or something like that. But
Right.
anyway, let me stop talking about food. That's a whole nother topic. Jasmine, what are your thoughts on this topic?
I mean, I'm going to go back to not getting caught up in the fantasy of what you want it to be, and
Mm,
asking the right questions, and someone can tell you whatever they want you to hear or whatever. But a lot of times we'll get so caught up in the romanticism of the relationship or what we want it to be that we don't think to ask those questions, those vital questions. So um, keep everything in perspective and ask whatever it is you need to ask. One of the main things I've learned that I need to ask now is there somebody else that is claiming you right now? Because I'm with you, Grace. I've been there. I have been there. Dated a guy for a whole 2 to 3 months, and he was engaged and just had a new baby and all of this. Got married 3 months right after I dumped him. So yeah, you gotta ask the necessary questions, like get down to, of course things are gonna take time,
right.
but don't neglect that aspect of the communication. Ask what you really need to know. So
Is there somebody else saying that you the baby daddy?
Well,
Is there somebody else saying that you their husband?
question.
You would think
So
you
many
don't have
people.
to ask
So
that.
serious.
right, right. I mean, if you don't dig deep enough to see if that person's words and actions are congruent, and if they don't
Right.
parallel with each other, then you're dealing with a representative. Those two things have to parallel. But the problem is, so many people get so emotionally caught up that they don't pay attention to the actions and they just rely on the words. So
Mhm.
pay attention. If a brother just want to come over late night hours, for example, and that's the only time
Mm-hmm.
he want to see you, and your dating with a purpose to lead a marriage, that person's not thinking about marriage with you, sister, at
Right.
all. You know. But Carl, I'm coming to you. What are some things you could do to help from falling for representative?
I agree with everything the sisters have said, and it's one of those things you can flip it around, reverse it. Um, as far as for men to take heed to that, ask those questions. Are you married?
Mm.
Does your husband know you're out?
Jesus.
It's just these questions. I've told people. I mean, there's been moments where I'm on the road a lot, and these women are married, and they're literally oh, I'm separated, but they're not. They're they leave and go. You go pull their social media up. Their husband's in the picture from 2 hours ago. So
Wow.
you hate you have to play private eye with a lot of this stuff, but it's just asking questions. It's being genuine, asking questions. And here's the thing: to do it, you got to ask the questions without being accusative. Don't
Right.
ask the question like you're accusing them of something.
There you
Um,
go.
Ask them because you're generally trying to get to know them, and
Right.
this is how you building that relationship. So that communication piece, like you said, is key. And I think a lot of times we've lost the art of communicating because of text messaging and because of stuff. And then there's a question to ask. Don't say well, I'm a text and ask them, is he married, in a text message. No, you ask them face to face,
Yeah.
or you can FaceTime or something.
Let me see your eyes.
But you know what I'm saying? But the sending
Mhm.
in a text and the questions like, why is she asking me this? You know what I'm saying? And now he making an attitude behind it, but you're just simply wanting to know. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
now
all.
it leads to a different thing. So so as you're going through these processes, and like you see, you pay attention to people's actions. You pay attention to again their consistency. You pay attention to do they respect you? Do they respect your time? Do they respect, you know, uh especially that time. Do they respect the time that you're giving them? Because I think we're in a world now where people want so much quantity time, and it's really got to be quality time. And I think that's the thing that we need
There
to,
you go.
we need to learn to appreciate with that. So if they're appreciating that time, and I would tell you, if you're appreciating the time that a guy's giving you, he's going to give you more.
Mhm.
Because he's like, I got to figure out a way to do this. I got to figure out a way to do that. Do
Right.
they keep their word? I think to pay attention to. If you're like, hey, I don't like this. I'm feeling uncomfortable with this. I'm not sure about this. And or I don't like the way you said this. So and they're working towards fixing those things. That's how you're paying attention to. Keeping yourself from falling to it. Because if they're not willing to make that adjustment for you, then what makes you think they're going to want to make that adjustment for you later? And again, this is not coming from a place of your trauma, but they may have said something that's disrespectful to you and you're addressing it. That's different. But if you're dealing with something from a place of trauma, you have to think about, okay, am I making them change for my trauma so I can be with this person?
Mhm.
Or is this something that is really traumatic to me that it could be a trigger and it's going to be unhealthy for our relationship, and I need him to change on that. See, it's a difference in how you're doing that.
Wow.
I like that.
So
Yeah, I like that too. Very well said. I mean, and my brothers and sisters out there, these types of conversations is much needed, because us as a community, we're falling way behind the cue ball, right? We're not doing the work. So listen, please join our group. Before we go into more comments, just join Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters. It's an excellent group. It's a nice, safe haven for you to talk about any relationship issues or topics that's on hand, because it's time. We need to get it together, right? So now we're going to go ahead and jump into some comments before we hit our last commercial break. And the first one on the second half, let's go to this one here.
actually, when you find the right person, you will feel calm and will not feel the need to prove you are lovable by investing too much time, because they will give you a calm feeling of knowing you are loved.
I agree. Very well said. Next one.
I have waited a whole year almost before going into a relationship. And for the first time in a long time, when I am together with a guy, I can also feel a need to pull back, focus on myself, my future, my goals, my aspirations, etc. It is so refreshing and a relief. I am not depending on this person because I have hobbies, passion for other things as well.
Okay. Appreciate that.
I think
Glad
the
to
key
see that
before
one.
jumping into a relationship is to
Yep.
find balance and alignment within ourselves. Then we won't
Right.
struggle with logic versus emotion, because we would be doing with our new partner everything that would be guided by our own right intuition, where fear and confusion don't interfere. That should help for not falling for a representative.
Yeah, very well said. I talked about that earlier. Don't just solely rely on emotions. You got to have both. Logic. It has to make sense long term, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
That's what. Yeah.
Carl clown. She said Carl is clowning. LOL.
You know what, though, guys? To me, butterflies actually indicate anxiety. So if I meet someone and I have butterflies, I pay very, very close attention, because I got to check myself. A lot of times you meet men and you feel calm and you're like, oh, he's so freaking boring. No, he's not boring. Your trauma is not acting up because it's probably the right person for you. I've noticed every man I met that I've had butterflies was not good for me. He was not the one. That was anxiety. That's for me
Wow.
now.
No. We need to do a show, Mel. I know we got on the commercial. We need to do a show why butterflies are toxic.
That trap.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping it 100. I'm just keeping it real 100. Why butterflies
No,
are
you're
toxic?
right. We have to.
Yeah, they just don't.
I love that
You're
topic.
not the first person to say that, Grace. You are not the first. You are not the first woman who said that. I've heard hundreds of women say, "The dude with
Yes.
the butterfly, the dude with the butterfly destroyed me." I just,
He
Man,
tried, but I got away. I was like, nah, sir. You
yeah,
ain't.
yeah, or destroyed me, hurt me, yeah, those type of things. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just.
That's a great
Yeah.
topic. Well, you heard it
Yeah.
first. Very soon you're going to see that topic, or anything that you can think of, my people that's out there dropping these comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, any show you want us to do, just pitch it to us, and we'll definitely put one together. So, listen, we're going to take one last commercial break. This is such an amazing show. And when we come back, we're going to do our Jerry Springer moment, which will discuss our final thoughts for today's show. This is DBDS Live. We'll be right back.
Are you single? Do you know about dbdssingles.com? Are you ready to meet a quality man or classy woman? The DBDS brothers want you to know that love and loyalty still exists. So if you're ready to meet relationship-ready people, sign up today at dbdssingles.com. Let's make love and loyalty dope again.
So many people are calling for police reform. And so because they're calling for police reform, they may not understand that there are many organizations who are already responding.
And I feel like you have to really get to know people, see if they share the same core values as you before you get involved with them.
I want to ask a question as to how we got to this place right here where mask wearing, where COVID-19, where public health is all politicized. I really want you all to think about this. How did we get to this particular point?
It's really a nice balance when femininity and masculinity can mix together and just create this awesome, experience.
All right, welcome back to DBDS Live. I am here with my DBDS sisters, Jasmine Nee, my sister Grace, my DBDS brother, Carl, the accountability coach, and we've been talking about how to identify the real representative, which is a much needed conversation. But now it's time to pivot to our Jerry Springer moment, where we share our final thoughts for today's show. And if you enjoy this episode, just make sure you hit that subscription button, whether it's on YouTube. You can even catch us on the network. We're on the Pure Moment Network. If you just go to Roku, and you can see us there. You can also hear us on Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Spotify, you name it, we're everywhere. So that's just another way to support our message if you believe in the unification of our brothers and sisters, to have healthier relationships, which leads to healthy marriages, which leads to healthy communities. So first, I am going to come to my sister, Jasmine Nee. Give the people who's watching your final thoughts for today's show.
Well, first of all, I've been learning so much from you guys on today. You got me checking myself about these butterflies, Grace. But first, I'll just say thank you guys for having me. But I'm glad we're having this conversation because it's so needful, as you guys have stated already. But just my final thought is think logically, like we've been saying throughout the show today. Use your mind, use your intuition, and don't ignore any signs for what you want it to be. Don't romanticize anything. It's okay to have some feelings and emotions, because if that is a genuine connection for you, those things will rise up, but don't get caught up in that. See it for what it is. So that's my final thought. Just simple and plain as that. See it for what it really is.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. And next, I'm coming to my sister Grace. What a wonderful show. But what are your final thoughts for today's show?
My final thoughts are we should never have to fight for the truth. Okay. It's a space. Like in the beginning of the relationship and you getting to know somebody, you shouldn't have to keep on wondering if they're telling you the truth. If the action and words don't align, ask questions. If the gap continues, leave them alone, because the truth ain't in them. Okay. And you're creating this false narrative in your mind because the way they made you feel. Feelings are fleeting. Okay. A cat can make you feel when you're petting it, feel a certain way. This is your life partner you are looking for. I know about Joe, but I'm looking for my partner. So there's certain things that are important, and the most important thing is truth to me. Okay, truth is and honesty. No matter how bad it is, I want someone to tell me the truth and give me the opportunity to either reject it or accept it. Respect me enough to tell me the truth. So those are my final thoughts.
Right. Very well said. Yes. Speak your mind, the truth. I love that. And Carl, man, what an amazing show. It just keeps getting better and better. I just love everyone from all walks of life coming onto the show, sharing their positive output. What are your final thoughts for today's show?
Yeah, I think Jasmine, appreciate you coming on. First time on here, Grace. Again, awesome job. Appreciate both of y'all. For me, really, the last thing I'm going to hit with is the healing aspect of it, so you're able to identify the green flags. You'll never see them if you're living in your past relationships. You'll never see them if you're living in your past traumas. Again, I'm not saying that you're never going to get over those things, that you have to get over those things to move forward, but you have to be healed to a point in a place where you're able to move past the pain and see things for who they are. That way you're not making the next guy or the next woman suffer for your past relationships. You can see this person generally has your best interest at heart. I think that's one of the things a lot of people miss out on, and they self-sabotage a relationship because they're like, oh, at the moment you do something, that person does something, you think they're the same person as the other one, and it's not. So communication, as everybody has said, is key, but that healing part, heal. Truly take time to heal. Stop getting in one relationship and jumping out in your relationship a month later, and people are like, oh, I'm good. But you were in a 2-year relationship. There's no way you're over 2 years and 30 days. And all you're going to do is end up bleeding on somebody else. And what you end up doing is, and I'll end it with this, you end up bleeding all over that green flag person and turning it red.
Wow. That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. Man. Very well said, my brother. Appreciate that. Thank you. And before I provide you with my final thoughts, I just want to thank this amazing panel and, for sharing their wisdom. And also, again, please check us on the Pure Moment Network. The download is free. You can see Jasmine Lee, Grace, the whole DBDS formatted show on TV. If you have HD TV, see it pure live. It's a really great experience. Trust me. So listen, I'm going to finish off and state here that first, I recently did a post on social media, and this is what I post because I always do my dear brothers, dear sisters message online. And I stated that, dear brothers and sisters, in the dating world, you must always figure out the other person's true agenda is before you take it to the next level. As I stated that, which is related to our topic today, one of my sisters who responded to the post believes that it's a waste of time trying to figure that out. Now, if you're out there casually dating, or you're not looking for anything serious, or you're not dating with a purpose, then that's fine. Do you. As long as you're transparent and honest, and you'll come across people with the same mindset. But if you're looking for a healthy monogamous relationship, which will lead to marriage, then it's not a waste of time when you take your time to get to know someone, to see if they're compatible with you, to see if that particular person is right for you. Because as the old saying goes, only fools rush in. And if you don't want to be connected to someone who is not emotionally connected to you, then please take your time. So once again, I want to thank this amazing panel, and much love to the DBDS family.
Take it away, Mel.